after the UK Supreme Court ruling, there are feminists that are getting some severe threats. And they say they're claiming this misogynist threatening them. Well, the people threatening them aren't heterosexual males, I guess you could say. They're people that are trans activists who, well, they may not be trans activists. I'm not going to say that. What I will say, though, is it's based off the decision that the Supreme Court of the UK said that when it comes to court rulings and law decisions, when it comes to matters of law, that they will look at the biology of the person, i.e. male or female, when they make their decisions. So these people giving these violent threats may or may not be trans. They might just be against the court ruling. In any case, they're threatening the feminist. Yeah, can't make this up. Liberals just eat their own, man. It's just what they do. All these people were on the same side a few years ago. They're just falling apart, man. Oh yeah, I found out after yesterday's video that literally only a few hours after Putin said, yeah, we'll have a truce for for Easter, he immediately attacks Ukraine. Which a lot of people say, you see, Trump don't know what he's doing. But actually, I have to argue differently. You remember when Trump said if, they don't want to make peace, that he's just not going to bother? Well, now I see why he said that, because look at what Putin just did. Looks like the U.S. is just going to let him fight, not be involved whatsoever. But you know what? You can't knock the man for trying, even though it's a massive L. There's been no peace with Ukraine and Russia. At least the man tried, which is more than we can say for ice cream, sleepy. You know who I'm talking about. While Trump is busy trying to make the West great again, that random Supreme Court, that wasn't even a Supreme Court judge, just a judge. I don't even know who he is exactly. But it's the same judge that said that while Trump had deported some people who were undocumented, which were illegal migrants, to El Salvador, and tried to give a court order for Trump to turn them around, is now saying, you done it this time. He wants to prosecute Trump. Oh, that's something we've never seen before. Saying that they didn't give them due process, basically, because they didn't give them a chance to argue their case. There's one slight problem with that, though, bruh. One slight problem. Wouldn't you have to be a legal resident of the United States to get those privileges and rights? If your first act in the United States is to not follow the law, which is coming in legally, or at least if you were already in following the process to remain legal, then how do you have the same rights as a legal American? Do you think that El Salvador will let Americans do that in El Salvador? And no, I wouldn't expect them to, because it's nonsense. But as we've seen in the past, you already know what's going to happen. This is all really kind of some virtue signaling, if I'm going to be honest. These judges well know that these people weren't in the United States legally, that were deported, or else he wouldn't have been able to deport them. And at best, this might stop the way they're deporting illegal migrants, but it's not going to stop them from doing it. And all they're doing is what they've always been doing, is turning Trump into a martyr. They can't help it. They can't help it. They just, they gave him the election. Come on now. You remember? Would you change anything or do anything different? I wouldn't change a thing. Remember that? Yeah. And they was calling him all kinds of, calling him a fascist and all this stuff. This is the same thing they've been doing since 2020. It worked in 2020 because of COVID. But it's not working now. But I'd say carry on. Bravo. Keep it up. Just keep going with it. Now, if one day they decide to change their minds and actually use logic and listen to the American people, then I'll listen to them. But while they're saying crazy stuff and expecting ridiculous things to happen, you're going to get, these kind of results. And what's that saying? You play silly games where you're going to win silly prizes. Anyway, on that note, y'all take care.